in the intima and in the media. And this is probably appreciated during these videos you might see here. These are from Shockwave. It should work really only on the calcium in the media and in the intima, but it shouldn't work in the soft tissue, as you might appreciate here on the right side. This should work at dedicated at several seconds. And once again, the rationale behind, if there's any inadequate vessel expansion due to severe or circumferential calcium, then we might crack up the calcium. There's a theory behind this in order to increase the arterial compliance, in order to restore vessel elasticity. In the comparison, for example, to any atherectomy devices, this procedure, as the company said, should be safer in terms of no vessel rupture and no distal embolization. So the components are rather simple. You have the generator, you have the connecting cable, and you have different catheters, as you might appreciate on this slide. Different catheter lengths, different catheter diameters. For example, for the ilex, for the common femoral artery, for the femoral artery, and last but not least, for below the knee arteries. This is the case from a colleague from the University of Charleston, South Carolina. This is a patient with severe calcium in the aortic bifurcation and the right common iliac artery, and in this case, they used intravascular lithotripsy, as you might see here on the videos, and this was done by a 6-French sheath, 7mm catheter. They applied 2 procedures. One was 2 atmospheres, one had 4 atmospheres, but there was a remaining pressure gradient of 12mm, and they decided to implant a stent in order to fix the lesion without any significant pressure gradient. So it's really questionable whether we should use the device here, but for sure there are reports use this device in the common femoral artery, in the SFA, and there's not a rather old, but from 2019, there's a systematic review on this procedure. They evaluated 9 records, including 211 patients, and the residual stenosis after lithotripsy was 21%. And the acute lumen gain of the vessel was around about 2.5mm. But from this meta-analysis, we have learned that any further data and better controlled data are needed really to prove the effectiveness of lithoplasty in vascular calcification. Therefore, I want to focus a little bit on the clinical program from the company itself with regard to the DISRUPT PAD3 randomized control trial and the observational PAD3 study. And if we look at the randomized controlled trial, meaning randomization PTA against lithoplasty and additional drug-coated balloon in several centers worldwide, they used a dedicated calcification system, as you can see here, as indicated by Roger Singh the first time in 2014, but there's a new calcification system, the so-called PEC system, and the definition of calcification, especially of severe calcification, is in my opinion a little bit uncertain, and probably severe calcification is not always severe calcification. Probably you know what I mean. The procedural data are rather simple. Superior procedural success in terms of lumen gain was reported by the investigator better than within the core lab. And what you might appreciate with this kind of system, there should be a reduced dissection rate, no complications in terms of distal embolization, perforation, and so on. And probably due to the lower balloon pressure, there should be a lower dissection rate ending up in the flow limiting, for example, meaning that there's a need for a scaffold as a self-expanding stent. If you look at this case from the publication, then you might appreciate severe calcification, but I think you have to re-evaluate whether you would have used here now intravascular lithotripsy or balloon angioplasty alone. Is it really a severe calcification? The result is quite fine, and there's no doubt there's no need for any scaffold, and as an add-on, drug-coated balloon angioplasty is an ideal solution after this kind of vessel preparation. If we look at the data from the DISRUPT trial, then it is at 1 year and definitely also at 2 years, really an improvement, a major advance for intravascular lithotripsy combined with DCB, as PTA alone with DCB in terms of primary patency. But as the authors mentioned, there are some limitations of this trial for example, in terms of the results. They didn't compare the effectiveness of this new methodology against other calcium-modifying technologies in terms of safety with other modifying technologies. And last but not least, I think this is a major point. There's some controversy with this methodology related to asserting whether longer-term outcomes may be attributable to the vessel preparation strategy or to the choice of definitive treatment. And this was not a blinded study. This would be possible. The observational study included more patients worldwide. They used other vascular territories from the iliacs to below the knee arteries. Lumen gain was certainly achieved. The procedure was safety, and there was proven effectiveness. There was a small data collection of 21 patients from cellular co-workers for below the knee arteries. It should also work below the knee without no complications in terms of vessel perforation or distal embolization. They noted one dissection, but this could be handled rather easily with additional stent placement. Shockwave, as I mentioned to you, works in the iliac arteries, and this might be important for large bore access in order to increase vessel compliance if you want to avoid, for example, a stenting procedure before, for example, a big TAVI procedure for the cardiologist. So it should work there. This was a supplemental analysis from the DISRUPT trial. But if you look at the cost considerations, as I know, and these are some Medicare data in the US, they have a reimbursement for this procedure. It should be equal to atherectomy in the iliac arteries, and with the stenting procedure, I would say it's a reasonable reimbursement for this new and exciting technique. If you look to our poor country, Germany, then you might appreciate on the left upper corner the cost we have to pay for the device itself. We don't have any reimbursement for this device. If we use PTA with an additional drug-coated balloon, then we have some kind of add-on for the drug-coated balloon, meaning we have balloon and DCB cost of less than 300 euros, and we have a reimbursement for that for a one-day procedure of around about 2,000 euros, and then you can calculate yourself whether you would use IBL or not in Germany. So if you look at the pros and cons from this procedure is a new procedure, and it has certainly different advantages. I think it's a quick setup. The device is rather simple, it's easy to use. No distal embolization should occur, and you have different balloons for different vessel territories where you might use it. The complication rate is low. But there are certain disadvantages. The long-term data, do we have them? We only have the DISRUPT trial data with its limitations. We have a lot of costs as an add-on, and I think for the SFA and the below the knee arteries, it's even not in the US, it's not reimbursed. And for sure, if there is no calcium or if there is not enough calcium, I think then the procedure doesn't make any sense. In my opinion, the procedure would make only sense in really severe circumferential calcium. So if we have really fully validated data, and I think we need more data, then probably it's a very, very interesting procedure. And I can tell you that CSC's next research company is running a big observational trial with this new device. And I think we can learn a lot with this new technology, but once again, further research studies are needed, and we need better study designs to evaluate this kind of new technology in order to treat severe vascular calcifications. But last but not least, I want to come back once again to the costs. And I think we really need a formal cost analysis on this device, and any substantial reimbursement is missing so far. Therefore, I think it's not the ideal device for, at least for me in Germany. Thank you very much. I highly appreciate it. Thank you very much.